Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday evening meditation practice. I am really happy to be here tonight. Tonight's topic is, why is meditation hard? And this is I'm kind of excited about this topic because I hear this a lot and I don't see it addressed a lot. I hear people say it, but I don't hear very many people saying it doesn't need to be. And that's kind of what happens with a lot of things in the world. And so that's what I want to talk about, is how we assume certain conditions or certain possibilities, and we therefore limit ourselves to those things we assume. So that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. I do want to remind people to subscribe to the channel. So I wanted to invite people to do that and remind you that if you subscribe, that there is no spamming or anything, and it's free. Subscriptions are free for you. I also want to remind people that I have put a link in the comments section or in the detail section. So once this video posts, there's a detail section that gives you an opportunity to contribute. I am going to put both my websites here. I realized that as I transitioned to an online presence, I expected that I wouldn't be as affected by COVID as other people. And that transition actually has had a significant impact on me, because I don't have people in the room with me. And every single time I did an event, I would have people that were participating that liked what I offered and wanted to support the work I do. They would contribute, and I realized I wasn't really giving people a platform for that. I give a lot of content away for free, and I do that on purpose. I get people asking me every day, why don't you charge? This is so powerful. Just your first class, just even give a few sessions for free, but charge for the rest. But I really want to support people in the early phases of the program. And that's really how this program is set up, is if you're new and if you're in those early stages, you can participate and get to know it. But then after you've been vested, after you've participated with me for a while, if you really like what I'm doing, if you want to support it, if you want to help the people that are coming in early to have the free information, then that's where people would choose to support. So it's really about being in a choice for that. Also, as people get into stage 3 practices, your brain recognizes value when you invest in your well-being. So anything you pay for, doctors, therapists, even if you're getting energy work or alternative medicines, people in that level, when we pay for a service, our brain doesn't just look at that service and say, oh, I'm paying because it's valuable. I think we do pay for things that we feel are valuable. But in addition to that, our brain says, I'm capable. I am capable of being in healthy exchange with another person. And when somebody gives me something, I'm capable of giving something back. And that's really important to the general health of the brain. So those links are there. My websites I've uploaded. There are places to donate on both. So if you do want to support what I do, and I have people say all the time, well, I'd support, but I don't have a lot. There are so many times I've done groups, and it's been $1. I've actually had people give me the last of the change in their pocket. And I'm so moved by that. I'm also very moved by the fact that I remember times in my life where all I had was what was in my wallet. And I was a person that would only put $1 or $2 of gas in my car at a time. And I would go to something and be really moved by it. And I would empty my wallet and just say, well, I feel like I want to give to this. And I don't feel like I can, but I'm going to anyway because I want to feel like I can. I want to live in a world where I can get beyond $1 or $2 of gas at a time. And so that's why I put that there, and that's why I'm bringing it up again, because I haven't been talking about that, and that was my fault. I let that ball drop, and so there are ways that whether it's $1 or $5 or whatever you can give, if you want to give it to the Inspired Evolution Project, that's my my program. YourWayRecovery.org is a new nonprofit that is a free online addiction recovery program. So if you want to give there, that will be tax deductible, and it will support people who don't have money that need addiction recovery support, and they can't afford to work in the current system. So those are there. I promised they would be. They're in every video. I've uploaded every live video. I'll be uploading every video that is an uploaded video to have that in the description section, so you can always find that link and contribute if you feel like you want to contribute. For those of you that do contribute, I just want to say thank you. It's such an honor to live the way I do and to be able to give resources to people that are often only available at a high price tag. And so to give what I give for free, I don't ever want to charge for that. I want it to be there because people in the early stages of the program need help for free. And in the upper stages, people talk all the time about I'm not charging enough for classes and such. I feel good. I feel good about what I charge. It's not always easy to live the way I live, but it feels good in my heart and it makes me whole. So that is part of what I want to talk about tonight. So now that I've updated you on that, thank you for being in the space where I can do that. I would like to, in a broad realm, why a lot of things are hard for us. And that is, it has a lot to do with what we expect them to be. So if you've followed me at all or been part of my program at all, you know the first thing I'm going to say is the only reason it's hard is because you're triggered. So when we're in a fight or flight state, everything's hard. Simple things that are normally easy for us are hard. Being able to just do our day-to-day work, stuff that might inspire us normally. I was talking to my writing group today, and people were talking about writing being hard, and we're people who write because we love to write. And I was talking about how the reason why I'm a writer is because I love to write. But I was talking about what makes me not love to write. So we know it's a triggered state, but I want to talk a little bit about the triggered state. And that is the fact that a lot of times when we're approaching anything, so whether it's writing or it's meditation or it's how do I handle any situations I might be facing with COVID, or with the movements that are happening with Black Lives Matter and with the political divide we're experiencing as a country, anything that feels hard is obviously an amygdala trigger, and part of the trigger is expectation, but not just we expect it to be different, but the fact that our brain thinks if it's not different, we're not safe. And so what we do in response to that is what I want to address tonight. So generally when we're meditating, we tend to believe, like when meditation is hard, is we tend to have an expectation of what that meditation should look like. We expect to know what we are supposed to do. We have these set of rules, and this is what causes a lot of conflict in the world, both internal conflict and external conflict, is that box of thinking that says, I know the way. And this is one of the things I'm learning with my current venture, is to start looking at the concept of learning in a different way. Instead of saying, I'm going to learn meditation and there's these specific steps and I'll do this and then I'll know this and I'll know this, looking at it and saying, what I'm going to do is try. And I'm going to try and I'm going to fail. And being in that space where it's okay to fail is huge. This is when I've talked in my writing group before, I talk about this a lot. The fact that a lot of people, I watch a lot of people read tons of books on writing. They read so many writing books, and yet they don't ever finish a book. And it's really funny. I've written over 30 books, and people are astounded by that. But what I realized is I never thought about the book. I just wrote, and I like to write. And so I wrote and wrote until I had written 30 books. When I started thinking of structuring those books and publishing those books and editing those books, writing became difficult because I wasn't just doing what I like to do. Now, here is the crux where I say we think we know our path. There are so many situations where we think life is supposed to be the way we want it to be. And this is huge. So when we're kids, we look at adults and we think they get everything they want because they make the rules. And we don't recognize the responsibilities they take. We don't recognize the effort they put in, the arduous hours. And so in that space, we then grow up and become adults and say, now I should be able to have things the way I want. It's my house, my rules, things like that. And I don't think it's necessarily about not having what we want. It's about, are we living life to its fullest potential? And this is the part where things get tricky, because I could write. I could have written another 30 books in the time it took me to edit and publish one, and then edit it again and get it ready for publishing, and then edit and prepare a third. So I have 3 books right now that are edited for publishing. And none of those would have existed if I just did what I wanted, which was write. Now, I want to talk about this twofold. One is how I can ruin writing. So how I can actually make writing more difficult, even though it's something I love. And how I can, and then after that, how I need to be able to move into this new dynamic beyond just what I want, and do what makes my life better. So the first one I want to talk about is how we tend to approach things. So most of the time when we feel like something is truly difficult, it is because we're focused on what it could be or what it will be, or that completed picture, so that end game. We're focused on that thing that it'll be when we're good at it. And so, for example, when I was editing, I wasn't focused on being back in the story. I used to edit all the time, and that was part of my mythology practice, was editing and having these realizations of transformation and seeing the book be this expression of my life that woke me up to things. And I was so inspired by that. But once I started editing to create a book, the joy left. It became arduous and difficult and labored, and I had to force myself. Now, that happens for two reasons. One is I know how to write. I don't know how to edit. So when we're moving into the learning curve process, it's difficult, and we're going to mess up, and we're going to do it wrong. And if we're a person that expects to be perfect or have high performance on things we've never learned yet, it's going to be difficult. There are so many times I work with clients and I say, learn something new. And a lot of times they'll just come back and say, I hate doing that. I've always wanted to learn this, but I don't want to because every time I try, I'm bad at it. And it's this ironic thing we do. The non-dominant hand coloring is one of the examples. Is I have people say, I hate writing with my non-dominant hand. It looks like a little kid did it. And I always say, no, it doesn't. It looks like somebody who doesn't know how to do it did it. The commonality is that little kids don't know how to write. And so they have a particular way their writing looks because they don't know how. But whether you learn to write at 3 or 5 or 50, it's going to look like someone who doesn't know how to do it until you do it enough that you're adept, and eventually you write without even thinking about it, right? Well, a lot of times we write, we don't think of shaping the letters and spelling the words. We're just translating what our brain has learned over arduous effort onto the paper. And this is the same, the same is true of meditation. Meditation is, there are points where you hit that arduous journey of effort. And to succeed at that, to make meditation easy, we need to do three things actually. One is prepare. I talk about this all the time. Do your preparation, set up the scene, good smells, a nice cup of tea, a place that's comforting and soothing. And then doing a centering practice. It's really important. So number one, set it up properly. Number two, don't just do what you already know how to do. Don't just do what's easy, because that doesn't improve your brain. If you meditate the same way you've meditated for the last 20 years, maybe it'd be good to add something. Use that, what you've done for the last 20 years, as your setup, and then add something to it that pushes you a little. In that, we want to add something new, but what we want to do is focus on being bad at it, letting it be hard. The reason why meditation's hard is not necessarily because we're doing it wrong. While it's true that if we do it right, it's easier, we should hit a point in every meditation that is challenging. Otherwise, we're not improving the brain. There was this great comment. We were talking in that writing group about motivational speakers, and they were talking, this motivational speaker they were talking about was saying, live your life setting goals, like working towards goals that make you happy, rather than just trying to feel better. And anybody in this practice for a while knows what that means. Feel better is serotonin. I'm just looking for rest and digest. I'm just looking to soothe. Actually, working towards goals is dopamine. But if you're in a state where you need soothing, right, you can't have dopamine. So you want to do those practices to trigger the chemical. But at the same time, you never want that meditation to just be an escape. It doesn't benefit you if there's not some, even 2 minutes of it, 5 minutes at the end. Spend all your time in the setup, and then spend the last couple of minutes efforting a practice. I have a lot of stage 3 practices listed. For some people, stage 2 is hard. I do have a complete free online meditation training course that is helps you go to from beginner to master meditator in 30 days instead of 30 years, because it approaches brain function. And there are practices in there. You can get them from the store on the website that's posted there under phase 3 practices. There are a lot of things there to challenge the brain. Deep contemplations, philosophical thinking, mythology, complex contemplation. There are so many ways that we can do this for the brain. But what we want is we want to make meditation, at the end of it, the practice is actually shifting our brain. We want to make it efforted. And to make that as easy as possible, we want to set up the right thing. So we do want meditation to be hard, but we want to make the hard as easy as possible to access. And that's, I'm going to address that in the meditation a little tonight. There was an experience I had in my realization that had to do with shifting identity. And I talked about doing that in a meditation practice. And I'm not going to do that full practice because the people that are getting this free meditation stuff, I don't know that everyone's at the level of that meditation practice. So what I want to do instead is I want to set up this concept of leading ourselves to a contemplative question. So I want to get into the part that's hard and show you what I mean by hard. So I am going to go ahead and fade back over, and I'm just going to invite you to settle into the space. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this meditation be about connecting with that part of meditation that should challenge our brain. So to access that part of the meditation, we've already done this conversation about why meditation is hard. And so that's kind of prompted our brain to already be past that serotonin level into a little bit of dopamine, because we're firing the prefrontal cortex anytime we're learning something new. And so what we're going to do as we settle into this meditation is I want to set up the concept of asking hard questions. And so the practice is going to be about making meditation easier by asking hard questions. So what I want you to do is imagine in your meditation space, sitting somewhere soothing. You may picture a place, or you might just feel the room where you are. And I'm going to set up a series of meditation questions for you. And then at the end of that, I'm going to give you time to contemplate. And I will log off at that time. If you are in the private group, we will be meeting at 7 on Zoom. So, but after I ask these questions, I'm going to log off. So I just want to give you a quick reminder that at the last 20 seconds of the video, there will be an opportunity to subscribe. Also, if you can like or share, if you have just even a little bit to donate, I appreciate it. If you don't have anything to donate, if you can like and share the videos, that helps me as well. And I want to settle into now this space and this series of questions. We're going to begin with just what would be a stage 2 question, which is, what about meditation is hard for me? So as I advance in my practices in the program, what do I struggle with? Where is my wall? Or if you're just learning the meditation practices, what stage is hardest for you? Or even if you're new to what we're doing here, if you've meditated before, what makes meditation difficult for you? Now I'm going to give you a couple of questions. The first question is, what have I been trying to force? So a lot of times where our wall is because we're trying to make getting through that wall a certain way. We're trying to say, oh, I go through the wall this way. And we'll try the same method over and over and over and be frustrated that we never get through that wall. So where are you pushing? Where are you trying to make it look a certain way or be a certain practice or something that you're avoiding? So that's question number 1. So I don't want you to spend too long in that question. It's just awareness. This is still stage 2, is awareness question. And now as we move into stage 3, I want you to ask yourself the question, what other practices or what other way is available to me that I'm not noticing? So I might have been trying to force it one way. But what other option is available to me that I didn't think about? And this might come right away, or it might be something that takes a few minutes of contemplation. You can feel free to pause the video if you need to have time to answer it. I'm going to move on to the next question, which is, from the big picture of what's available to me in meditation that I wasn't noticing. So from my answer to the last question, what small piece of that can I add to my practice? I've been speaking a lot this week about seeing the world as seeing my life as a puzzle. And that when I work on a puzzle, I don't work on the whole puzzle all at once. I pick a section of the puzzle that I want to work on, the sky or the grass. And then when I pick the section I want to work on, I find all the puzzle pieces that might match that section. And then when I've done that, I take one piece at a time and compare it. So what one piece of what's available to you in meditation is something that you can apply right away? So again, those questions are, what is my struggle? What is my wall, my limitation in meditation? What have I been trying to do to overcome that limitation is the second question. And the third question is, what's available to me? What different path, what different way to overcome that limitation is available to me? And then what small piece of that can I try today? There is so much in life that is continually changing. And it really is an opportunity for all of us. That we can live life a different way. We want it to be better for everyone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you with those questions and with the thought. Do everything you can to make meditation easy. Set up your meditation practice in a way that getting to the difficult questions is easy. And then once you get there, make your meditation as hard as possible so you can become a better meditator. So with that thought, those of you that are with the private group, I'll see you at 7. For everyone else, I hope you have a beautiful evening. And for those of you that do contribute, I just want to thank you. Thank you for supporting what I do, for being a part of it. And I look forward to seeing you next Sunday for another meditation tip and live guided meditation.